The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. One October day in 1917, said Jordan Baker that afternoon, sitting up very straight on a straight chair in a tea garden at the Plaza Hotel. I was walking along from one place to another, half on the sidewalks and half on the lawns. I was happier on the lawns because I had on shoes from England with rubber knobs on the soles that bit into the soft ground. I had a new plaid skirt also that blew a little in the wind, and whenever this happened, the red, white, and blue banners in front of all the houses stretched out stiff and said tut 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 in a disapproving way. The largest of the banners and the largest of the lawns belonged to Daisy Faye's house. She was just 18, 2 years older than me, and by far the most popular of all the young girls in Louisville. She dressed in white and had a little white roadster, and all day long the telephone rang in her house and excited young officers from Camp Taylor demanded the privilege of monopolizing her that night. Anyways, for an hour, when I came opposite her house that morning, her white roadster was beside the curb, and she was sitting in it with a lieutenant I have never seen before. They were so engrossed in each other that she didn't see me until I was 5 feet away. "Hello, Jordan," she called unexpectedly. "Please come here." I was flattered that she wanted to speak to me because of all the older girls I admired her most. She asked me if I was going to Red Cross to make bandages. I was. Well, then, would I tell them that she couldn't come that day? The officer looked at Daisy while she was speaking, in a way that every young girl wants to be looked at sometime. and because and because it seemed romantic to me, I have remembered the incident ever since. His name was J. Gatsby, and I didn't lay eyes on him again for over 4 years. Even after I'd met him on Long Island, I didn't realize it was the same man. That was 1917. By the next year, I had a few books myself. And I began to play in tournaments, so I didn't see Daisy very often. She went with a slightly older crowd when she went with anyone at all. Wild rumors were circulating about her, how her mother had found her packing her bag one winter night to go to New York. Go to New York and say goodbye to the soldier who was going overseas. She was effectually prevented, but she wasn't on speaking terms with her family for several weeks. After that, she didn't play around with the soldiers anymore, but only with the few flat-footed, short-sighted young men in town who couldn't get into the army at all. By the next autumn, she was gay again. Gay as ever. She had a debut after armistice. And in February, she was presumably engaged to a man from New Orleans. In June, she married Tom Shannon of Chicago with more pomp and circumstance than Louisville ever knew before. He came down with 100 people in 4 private cars and hired a whole floor of Mohau Beach Hotel. And the day before the wedding, he gave her a string of pearls valued at $350,000. I was bridesmaid. I came into her room half an hour before the bridal dinner. And found her lying on her bed, as lovely as the June night in her flower dress, and as drunk as a monkey. She had a bottle of Sauterne in one hand and a letter in the other. Gratulate me, she muttered. Never had a drink before, but oh, how I do enjoy it. What's the matter, Daisy? I was scared, I can't tell you. I had never seen a girl like that before. Here, there's. She dropped around in a basket. She had with her on the bed and pulled out a string of pearls. Take them downstairs and give them back to whoever they belong to. Tell them all Daisy's change. Tell them all Daisy changed her mind. Say Daisy's changed her mind. She began to cry. She cried and cried. I rushed out and found her mother's maid, and we locked the door and got her into and got her into a cold bath. She wouldn't let go of the letter. She took it into the tub with her and squeezed it up in a wet wall, and only let me leave in the soap dish when she saw that it was coming to pieces like snow. But she didn't say another word. We gave her spirits of ammonia and put ice on her forehead and hooked her back into her dress. And half an hour later, when we walked out of the room, the pearls were around her neck and the incident was over. Next day at 5 o'clock, she married Tom Shannon without so much as a shiver, and started off on a 3-month trip to South Seas. I saw them in Santa Barbara when they came back, and I thought I'd never seen a girl so mad about her husband. If he left the room for a minute, she'd look around uneasily and say, Where's Tom's gone? And wear the most abstracted expression until she saw him coming in the door. She used to sit on the sand with his head in her lap by the hour, rubbing her fingers over his eyes and looking at him with unfathomable delight. It was touching to see them together. It made you laugh in a hushed, fascinated way. That was in August. A week after I left Santa Barbara, Tom ran into a wagon and the Ventura Road one night and ripped in front of the wheel off his car. Ripped the front wheel of his car. The girl who was with him got into the papers too, because her arm was broken. She was one of the chambermaids in the Santa Barbara hotel. Oh yeah. The next April, Daisy had her little girl, and they went to France for a year. I saw them one spring in Cannes, and later in Duville. And then they came back to Chicago to settle down. Daisy was popular in Chicago, as you know. They moved down with a fast crowd, all of them young and rich and wild. But she came out with an absolutely perfect reputation, perhaps because she doesn't drink. It's a great advantage not to drink among hard-drinking people. You can hold your tongue, and moreover, you can time any little irregularity of your own so that everybody else is so blind that they don't see or care. Perhaps Daisy never went in for Amber at all. And yet there's something in that voice of hers. Well, about 6 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, well, about 6 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago. Well, about 6 weeks ago, she heard the name Gatsby for the first time in years. It was when I asked you, do you remember if you knew Gatsby in West Egg? After you had gone home, she came into my room and woke me up and said, "What Gatsby?" And when I described him, I was half asleep. She said in the strangest voice that it must be the man she used to know. It wasn't until then that I connected this Gatsby with the officer in her white car. Alright, that's for today. And I'll see you guys tomorrow then. See ya.